Well, hello BAME Farm fans. Here goes the chopper. This is actually going to be the very last load of silage that we chop for the year. Sorry you guys missed out on most of the chopper action. That's because I was usually running wagons and Dad was chopping. Or I was busy with other stuff. Which really we didn't miss much, just we were chopping fairly quick. Yes and no. When we started out, it was going quick, and then we had to stop and replace the two main big belts that drive the chopper. The blower belt broke, and since we were so far behind on video editing, I did not get any of that footage. It's more fixing, turning wrenches, big belts. It's a little muddy down here at the bottom. It's not too bad. Let's get up here so you can see the machine working. Now we're still taking 2 rows. We can only take 2 rows now. Funny story though, one of the belts that ended up going on the chopper is a used belt that's very new. That chopper had a 3-row wide head, but then that other chopper was purely a parts machine because somebody had swiped the engine out of it. Now this corn doesn't look very good. This corn was also planted on July 12th. And up until it frosted a couple nights ago, it was too wet to chop. So we had to wait for a frost to kill off the corn so it would dry a little bit. If we shuck one of these back, and it's not, okay, there's one kernel trying to dent. It's not denting. That's a lot of milk. I guess Dad's gonna one direction this. Now if we look close at the head, see the 1 row's not running. I don't know why it's not doing that. Brad and I were just gone for a week hiking because I guess we gotta take a break from this every once in a while and have some sanity and not farm all the time. So what do? We go walk out in the woods for a week. So we're relegated to only using 2 rows because of spacing and because the 1 row doesn't work. So back to this parts machine. It had a 3-row wide head. It is buried in the other machine owner's barn, and we will have that here for next year, so that is great news. I can't keep ahead of this. Now, by nobody, I haven't even looked at it because I just got home yesterday to investigate why that row isn't turning. But since we're only taking 2 rows, it doesn't matter. Now it seems that our new belts are doing well. We went ahead and put both belts on because we would have to pull off the hydraulic pump that's on the end of the engine. And once you got that loose, both belts are right next to each other. The blower belt is brand new because that was still available from the dealer. Now the condition had been deteriorating for a couple years, so we went ahead and had one sitting on the shelf and had been on the lookout for the big drive belt that turns the blades. And we couldn't find one until luckily, probably middle of September, Dad had found an 1895, which is the model after this machine, but they were selling for parts. The engine had been pulled out of it, A couple other things are missing. Unfortunately, the spout off that machine was missing. I really don't like our spout. It's too long. But we're gonna get back on the other side of the corn here. I know, the manure spreader's still parked in the way. How convenient. And I guess I'm gonna be too lazy to move it. I'm just gonna leave it. Oh well. So yes, that parts machine had a fairly new main drive belt, which is fantastic. So we've got two fairly new belts to run everything. So hopefully next year, now that we've got a 3-row wide head coming, and all the belts are like brand new on this thing, we should be ready to roll for the silo really quick. Because we started back on October 7th or 8th roughly, filling silo. And that's when we got the belts fixed. We only got like a quarter of the silo filled before the belt broke on the blower. And it's October 22nd right now, and we're chopping the last load. Finally. Now you see, some of it isn't coming out the spout very well. Yeah, that's the green material. When we tried to chop this 2 weeks ago down here, this really late planted corn, it was just so wet, like the plant material was, it was plugging the spout. And I think that's because of the spout redesign is not very good for flow. Now we do have drier corn out back where we chopped a bunch of silage, and you probably saw a little bit of that as we were swapping wagons out. That corn is very dry, and we've been mixing a little bit in with this wet stuff. But I think after this is chopped, it's a full silo or close enough. Before we went hiking, I had plugged the blower and had it full of silage. That was partly because I had the spout blowing close rather than far away. If the spout had been set far away, I wouldn't have noticed, like we wouldn't have plugged the blower because the silage would have had some place to go across the top of the silo. Oh, there's gonna be 2 rows left. Well, we don't get to see this side of the chopper much because it's always next to the corn. Now everybody had been wanting us to widen the head out since it is adjustable for wider rows. And luck just happened to have it that we found one. So that's going to be a long waiting game. Everybody has to wait for that to get here, then we have to wait till next year to use it. See, it's not much fun when you buy equipment that only gets used once or twice a year. That's why tractors are always more fun, because you can always use them. Now in this one spot of weak corn, and coming from where it's muddy, the barn lot drains a little bit. It gets this a little damp. That's why the corn didn't grow so well, especially when we were getting our healthy 3 inches of rain or more every week, all summer long. Now while we're down here, you can see the beans that also got planted July late, like the 12th. They're pretty much, when we planted this field that wraps behind the barn, we were just using up seed to be using up seed. So these beans got planted, they got frosted on, but they were already starting to die off naturally. So they've got a lot of dry down, definitely green stem, green pod. The leaves are dry and crunchy, not too super green. So the frost didn't kill them prematurely. But they've got a ways, probably a few weeks of drying before they're ready. Good news is that they're still green so late, I doubt there's going to be any moldy beans. I haven't even looked at our beans yet. I mean, these beans are still big, fat, and green. Woo! It's got some dry time. Those are fat and green. Jeez, look at that. That's gigantic. Well, time for the final row. and that'll wrap up silage season for us. So hopefully as soon as the beans are dry, or maybe some corn's dry, we'll start either ear picking or running beans or something. There's always something to do. Last 2 plants. Yum, 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 yum. On a side note, the red wagon frame stayed together, so that's good. Guess we did a good enough patch-up job on the welding. Well, we'll wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed silage season. Sorry for the lack of chopper videos. That's the best part of this whole operation, right? Well, happy farming.